We are going to graph this. The very first thing I'd like you to do is sine. So at the top, we have two options. It's either going to be a hill valley, or it's going to be a valley hill. Anything you write down on this piece of paper, you can use today for your assessment. It's a hill valley or a valley hill. Next, you are going to be graded on can you correctly identify the period. If you have not picked up a calculator, please go grab one. Alex, can you grab a calculator for me? So how am I going to do this? I'm going to take 2 pi, and I'm going to divide by whatever is directly in front of the x. So in front of the x right now is a 4 pi. So we're going to divide by 4 pi. You guys use the word canceling out. Mathematically, that's not the correct word. It's called simplifying. But either way, the pi on the top and the pi on the bottom, they appear to disappear. It seems like they disappear. Really, they simplify into 1. And I'm left with 2 over 4. Now, if you don't know what 2 over 4 simplifies or you're not confident, you're going to go 2 divided by 4, hit math fraction, enter, enter, and we get 1/2. That's points. Even if you mess up on other things, that's points you have to have. Yes? Can you a little louder for me? You want to say the next step? So what's the next step? So close. You're going to divide by 4. You're going to take whatever this is, and we're always going to divide by 4. Why is that? Because there's 4 steps to every one of our primary trig functions. So I'm going to put 1/4 in parentheses, and I'm going to divide it by 4. If you don't put it in parentheses, you're going to get it wrong. So 1/4 divided by 4. Anthony, are you taking notes? Okay. And we get this, but what do I do now? I don't like this decimal. I turn it back into a fraction. So 1/8. Okay, so I would, if you're not very confident, I would draw a little picture. Take this and draw a picture to that very first hash mark. Your x scale is the distance between each one of these hashes. So 1/8 is the first one. How do I figure out the second one? Well, it's step 2. Take it times 1/8 and turn it back into a fraction. 1/4. It's step 3 times 1/8. Turn it back into a fraction. And then I'll just tell you we get 1/4. So we're going to have 4th step times 1/8. Turn it back into a fraction, which is 1/2. 5th step times 1/8. 6th step times 1/8. 7th step times 1/8. And 8th step times 1/8. So here are my different values. Now, in this particular problem, notice that the pi symbol's canceled out. That's why there's no pi attached. To do the 4 to the left, it's -1/8 for this problem, -1/4, -3/8, and -1/2. For this problem, please circle the value in front. If that is positive, it's going to be a hill valley. So it's going to go up first and then down. If this was negative, we would go down first and then up. You're welcome to write that. If this value is positive, we're going to use this formation. If this value is negative, we're going to use this formation. Okay, how far up are we going to go? 4. So we start at 0 for sine. We go up 4. I have to see these dots, and then back. Our third step is down and then back. These are not V's. Remember, they're rounded. I need to be able to see those. And then I keep going. So up, back to the middle, and down. And now I'm going to go 1 cycle to the left. Down, back up, and here. I need to see the dots. I don't want to see just like random wave curve, okay? I need to see exactly where does this hit. That's our first example. Does anybody have any questions? It does not get any harder than that. Okay, we're ready for our second example. It's our last example. Please write this down. I'm going to write down our options. It's hill, valley, hill, or it's valley, hill, valley. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to find out what is the period. We're going to take 2 pi and we're going to divide it by whatever is directly in front of the x. Now, many of you are going to say there's nothing there. Who can tell us actually what's there? It's a 1. So 2 pi divided by 1 is simply 2 pi. So after 4 hashtags or 4 steps, we're going to be at 2 pi. The x scale, we always take 2 pi and always divide it by 4. If you grab your calculator and you take 2 divided by 4 and you simplify it, you end up with 1/2. Now this problem is different than our first example because now we still have a pi. Pi's weren't canceled out. So whatever your x scale is our first hashtag. So 1/2 pi. Now how do I figure out the other hashtags? It's my second step times 1/2. I'm omitting the pi. If there's 1 pi, bring it back in. My third step times 1/2. If it's a decimal, I turn it back into a fraction. 3/2 pi. You have to write down all of these numbers. So I need to do 2 cycles to the right. I know just by memorizing, this is going to be 5/2, 3 pi, 7/2, and 4 pi. But you could use the calculator to slowly do that. And 1 cycle to the left. Next, I want you to circle what is directly in front of the function, the cosine. Circle that. Does that value tell us that this is going to be an example of a hill, starts high, it goes valley, and then back to a hill? Or is it an example of valley, starts low, hill, valley? Which one is it? What does this tell us? Which option am I going to use?
Valley.
So draw a little arrow here. If it's a negative number in front, we're going to do valley, hill, valley. If it was a positive number, we do hill, valley, hill. That's only for cosine functions. So I'm going to start right here. It's negative. Did I write this down? This should have been, yeah, this is valley. So I want to start low. How low do I start? So 2 down. So 2 down. Then I need to see these dots. And then 2 up. And then 2 back down. Am I going to make a sharp V? Because that's what it looks like it's going to be. But it's curved. And 1 cycle here to the left.